What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Abundant Relationships. If it's your first time, my name is Evans-Claude Sabbi, and this is a platform where we talk about dating, relationships, and ways we can live with intention, not just in our own lives, but also in the interactions with people who are very intimate and close to us. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be addressing communication, and specifically texting versus calling versus in-person or video calling if you would like. This video is inspired by something that happened to a very close friend of mine. He had been seeing this young lady for about 2-3 months now, and the texting back and forth has been happening within that time. They even got a chance to see one another about 2-3 times within that period. And for my friend, this is like something he had never experienced before. The flow of conversations that was happening, the chemistry that he was feeling with this lady, and just how comfortable he was throughout this whole process of getting to know her. And most of this conversation was happening through texting. Now, I don't want you to jump into conclusion just yet, but within this time, my friend felt like this girl was giving him hints that she's ready to move to a more serious level of seeing one another through the messages that she was sending him. And my friend feeling confident that she's ready to progress the relationship in that direction, a few weeks ago, he decided to ask her if they could be exclusive. And to his surprise, she told him that she needed more time, she needed some space, and she also needed to get to know him a little bit better. Now, to my friend, that was completely out of what he was expecting, because all this time she was sending him messages, she was planning for the future, she was really into him in a way that she wants to get to know and build something with him. But when he came to take actions and move that relationship towards that direction, the reaction he got from her was completely the opposite. Something that happened after my friend revealed his intentions is that she started reaching out less often. The texting went very minimal to non-existent in some days within those 2 weeks, and he felt really confused as to what do I do? I want to save this really good thing that I had going on, but he felt very conflicted as to he tried to give her exactly what she was hinting for, but she ended up pushing him away in a manner that she was asking for more space, more distance, more getting to know one another. From what you've just heard, it's very clear that there was some miscommunication through those text messages between what she sent to him, what her intentions were, compared to what was interpreted by my friend and what he understood. And that confusion is what brings us to this video today. So you might be in the same scenario and you're wondering, what is the best method? What is the best means of communicating to a woman whom you find sexually attractive, or you're trying to spark some sort of an emotional connection with them? And in order for me to answer that, I think we need to visit what communication really is. In the simplest way, communication is the sending and receiving of a message from the sender to the receiver, or the recipient in this case. And in order for that communication to be effective, I think it has to be the message that was sent is received in the same manner it was intended by the sender, and the recipient gets to understand it to its fullest potential. There is a famous communication rule which is considered the 7-38-55 rule of communication. And what that rule means is that 7% of what we communicate is the content, the things you write in your text messages, the emails you type to people, the things you speak with your own words, what you're hearing from me, the content of what I'm saying, that carries 7% of what communication really is. And that's where texting lies. The 38% is the tonality and the voice we have in the message that we're trying to communicate. And the last part, which is the biggest one, is where body language comes in. How is my facial expression? How is my body standing? How do I look? Do I feel as if I'm frightened by what you're saying, by what you're communicating? Or do I feel very friendly with a smile and the way my posture is towards you, either facing you, or sometimes if I'm scared, I might be facing in a different directions, trying to avoid you or trying to get away from you and talking to you. I want us to step away from the numbers a little bit there and look at the nature of these three means of communication. When you text someone, the only thing you can communicate in that scenario is the content. And the problem with just being able to communicate content in dating especially, it doesn't really carry any emotions from the sender to the receiver. You're never able to communicate the emotions that you want. And when you're dating someone, when you're trying to connect with someone on an emotional level, texting, which is only the sending and receiving of content, does not help us in that scenario. The content itself, when you send somebody a message, the way that message is going to be perceived is very dependent on the emotional state of the person who is receiving it. If we are very happy, we try to send a flirtatious message that we try to spark this conversation or getting to know someone, and the other person has had a bad day, that flirtatious message that you're sending is most likely, and I'm not saying that it will always be this way, it's most likely going to be perceived in somewhat of a negative connotation with it. Now, all these different means of communication, they have their place in the way we talk and the way we send and receive messages. What I think most of us do, however, is we abuse and overuse texting even in scenarios where it's the least effective. And we tend to over-rely on these means because, again, it's the most convenient. It allows us to not face our anxiety, our fears, or sometimes just that fear of rejection. For us, it stings a little bit less if we are not really seeing that person one-on-one, or if we are not hearing that rejection straight from somebody's mouth into our ears. Now, when you move to calling and in person, the fact that we have tonality, we have our voice being projected from one person to another, we have that body language that can be observed, which again, if it's friendly, it calms the other person, it allows them to open up and not put up walls and just connect a little bit easier. When you take the voice and the body language aspect of communication out and you over rely on just sending content, somehow, somewhere, at some point, there is going to be some misinterpretation of whatever the content you're sending from you to the person that you're trying to connect with emotionally. And if it's a scenario that you feel that emotion needs to be communicated from one person to another, if it's something that's important to you, I think texting should be avoided at all costs. Texting is a very convenient means of communication. However, its place is when you're only trying to send something, let's say, let's meet at this place, let's meet at this time, oh, send me the pictures from the other night when we went out. Then texting is nice and quick. But if it's about getting to know someone, if it's about getting to connect with someone on an emotional level, this is where the weakness falls in as far as texting comes. So as you can see, audio calling and meeting someone in person carries not just the content of what you want to communicate to the other person, it also, there's a depth there when it comes to the tonality, voice, plus the body language. And that combo itself allows you to communicate better, allows you to connect easier. And you might be asking, should you not text at all when you're trying to connect with a woman romantically? I would say yes, you can text, but try to keep it to a minimal. I want to end this video by saying that in most times that I've observed where people's communication starts breaking down is because texting was used in a wrong time, where somebody was trying to communicate emotion, somebody was trying to communicate something that was important to them, but they failed to use the right means, which is calling or meeting that person in person to communicate those matters that were important to them. So get to understand that it does not matter how much or how many emojis you use in your text messages. The emotion that the recipient might get has nothing to do with the emotions that you're trying to convey to that person, but rather their state of mind at that particular time. And if you let that happen over and over again, as I said, there's a lot that can go wrong in the interpretation of those messages between you and that person. And I want you to ask yourself before you reach out to the person you find sexually attractive next time is, what is it that I'm trying to achieve through my reaching out to this person? Am I trying to create an emotional connection with them, or am I just reaching out for the sake of reaching out? Because if you're not careful, the means that you choose, either intentionally or unintentionally, can easily drive you away from each other instead of bringing you together and have a relationship that's going to be meaningful and enjoyable for the both of you. So that's what I have for you guys in today's video. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. And if you're looking for one-on-one coaching sessions, head over to the website Evans-Claude.com. The first session is always free, it's on the house, so I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. Until next video, I'll catch you guys in another one.